welcome everyone to the Corgi Town USA podcast. I'm Candy. Here in my lap is Chuckles, the spokescorg for Corgi Town USA and president of the Corgi Committee. We also have Wiggin, who is our honorary corgi, and Digby, one of our corgis, who is they are chairs of the Corgi Committee. And next to me
is Kat Cohen with Corgi Town USA.
Executive producer, everybody.
Yay.
We've been talking about training and how important it is to train corgis and sort of basic commands. And listener, viewer, if you've had pets, you've had dogs, you've trained them. Each breed comes with its own set of challenges, I think, when it comes to training.
I think so.
And most of us will have some sort of modicum of, okay, I know how to potty train. We can train certain basic commands such as sit, stay, quiet. Good luck with that one if you have corgis.
Yes.
But Kat, you call me the corgi whisperer, which just tickles me to death.
Yeah, you're definitely the corgi whisperer. Thank goodness that that Digby came to me completely trained. He has some rough edges, and I was able to
high energy boy,
and I was able to repeat the training in Italian because I speak Italian, and so it's fun for me to practice because nobody else speaks Italian to me anymore. So
except you and Digby, you can have conversations in Italian.
Right, now. Digby and I have conversations in Italian, and now I've trained a Wiggin in several commands in Italian as well.
So Chucky is the non-bilingual.
Chucky is the non-bilingual here. Yes.
Well, it tickles me that you call me the corgi whisperer because I don't do a whole lot of trick training.
Right.
I more basic commands. My big thing is manners.
Yes.
Because I have so many of them and I keep getting more. So I want people to be able to come over and enjoy themselves so that they don't feel like they're at an animal hoarder.
Yes.
Home with dogs running over, but all over the place. Lilo, my first corgi, was so incredibly intelligent and so easy to train. And he had a trick where you could shoot him with your fingers, like bang, and he would roll over, belly up, and go, oh, like you shot him. And that was a lot of fun, and people loved it. And he had a couple like that he would do. But other than that, I don't do a whole lot of trick training, but potty training's been pretty easy, comes pretty easily to me. I'm just really good at taking them out often. And now we have another baby. We have 10-week-old at the time of this recording, 10-week-old Mortimer Barnabas.
Morty B.
And he is learning potty training. Mm-hmm. And it helps to have other dogs to help them. But that's kind of where most of my experience is just in basic commands. Like Chucky knows how to be a gentleman. If you tell him to be a gentleman, he will sit and quietly wait for you. Sometimes, unless there's an extreme distraction that he can't get past.
Digby, the extreme distraction would be Digby coming over to visit.
Yeah. Digby's like, oh, my friend, my bro first here. But I wanted to get someone who is good at trick training and advanced training. And so we have a special guest, Maslow The Trick Corgi's corgmom, Alyssa, is with us, and I'm going to welcome Alyssa.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm so excited. I feel like we could probably make this episode 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I could go on and on, honestly.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to share, for those listening, Maslow the Trick Corgi has a really cool TikTok. That's my favorite. Alyssa actually takes the viewer through some training commands. And TikTok, I believe you have 15, 30 seconds or a minute.
Yes, they just released a 3-minute option that isn't released to everyone. And I haven't experimented with that yet, but there could be some longer videos coming up.
That's cool. Well, I'm impressed that you are able to go through and teach some very valuable information in a very short little snippet. And if anybody wants to follow, we highly recommend. There's an Instagram and a TikTok, and it's Maslow, Maslow, The Trick Corgi. So, and I love that you named him Maslow. My first corgi, Lilo, one of my best friends growing up, she had cats, and the cats, we lived together for a while, and Lilo would herd the cats for us. And so I used to joke because one of the cats was Maslow, and I'd be like, it's Maslow and his hierarchy of fleas. I would just give him a hard time because we said, Lilo, go get the cat. And he would herd them for us. So it brought back some fun memories because of the name. But I had some questions for you. I would love to hear what your background in training is. Have you done professional? Are you certified? Is this something that you've learned with having corgis? Tell us about how you got where you are.
It's kind of a mixture of everything. So I'm working on certification right now. But you need a certain amount of hours before you can actually take a test to be certified.
Sure.
So Maslow's 3, his first year was just training by myself. Then the year after that, I found someone to apprentice under. And for about almost a year, I've been doing it professionally.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So the trainer that I decided to apprentice under does one-on-one lessons with mostly reactivity or behavioral issues kind of cases, and using all positive reinforcement.
Yeah, we're very pro positive reinforcement. Anytime we talk to trainers, I always try to talk to the positive reinforcement. And we had a guest a few weeks ago, Robert with Tank.
Yes.
And he was talking about how he grew up on a farm, and Tank's going to be a stud. So we talked about that, the right way to do it. And he was talking about how when he was younger, and I can attest to this because I grew up in the same way, positive reinforcement training is a little bit of a newer advent, really. It's been probably the last decade and a half. It used to be you established yourself as dominant, and Robert talked about that as well, that it was you laid the hammer down, that you were very firm, and that you were very, which you do have to be firm to a point, but I think I like the positive reinforcement. I love the shift that it's more, you need to build trust, you need to build, they're your companion, so you need to establish companionship, be firm in that, hey, you're the boss, but use the positive reinforcement. So I love that.
And
Absolutely.
just to tie it all in, positive reinforcement is based off of more psychology theories. One of the reasons why I named him Maslow. So I had the same foresight.
That's so awesome. I love it so much. And so I tell people about having corgis that they're very bossy. They're very opinionated. You do have to be alpha. I think when you have corgis, I've had 7. So you have to be alpha. You have to let them know you're the boss. And that sometimes gets lost. I know that some of the rescues that we found, sometimes they wind up in rescue because they were just too much for the owner. Corgis will run all over you. But I wanted to ask you, with the working breed that corgis are, they're high energy, they need a job. What would you say, how is it training a working breed as opposed to other breeds? Like, what are the benefits?
I mean, the biggest benefit to me is they're really intelligent. I love a smart dog. Yeah. And then the con is that they're really intelligent and they're a smart dog.
Right.
I find the same with men.
Yes. Give them an inch and they'll take a mile.
Exactly.
I just alienated half of our audience.
Yeah. That's okay. That's fine.
No.
We're here for the corgis anyways, right?
That's right.
Corgis
Male
over
people.
men. But
And this is now taking a whole new path.
I love it. So I hear you talk about dog sports.
yes.
I don't actually know. When you say that, I think of agility training, and then of course one of our friends who will be on the show soon, Super Corgi Jojo, does the surfing. That's what I think of when I think of dog sports. Can you elaborate on that and what your background is?
Yeah. So Maslow actually participates in 7 different dog sports.
Wow.
The most common
Maslow.
one, the most common one is definitely agility. That's the one that people think of all the time, which is great and everything. I do love agility. But a lot of people get into it because they're like, my dog likes to run. They like to run, they like to jump, so they want to get into agility.
Right.
Which more power to you, but it takes a lot of obedience. And it's a lot more of a commitment than just running and jumping, because you have your dog off leash and, you want them basically as far away from you as possible while still listening to you. And so that takes a lot of obedience training. Maslow's been doing agility for about 2 years, almost 2 years now, and we're still just in foundation work. So it's a big commitment. Some of the other sports he does is herding. A lot of people have heard of that before too. So that's self-explanatory. They have to herd sheep.
What they were bred to do.
Yeah, what they were bred to do, which if you have a working breed and can take them out to a farm, I suggest you do it at least one time just to see what they were bred to do. It's amazing. Some other sports is like disc. So you throw the Frisbee, they catch it. If they catch it at a certain distance away, they get points. Let's see, what else does he do? What else do you do? Fly ball is another one.
Fly ball.
Yeah, series. It's like a dog relay race. So it's a series of 4 jumps. Then they have to do a swimmer's turn, also called a box turn, catch a ball, and bring it all the way back. And then the next dog goes. So that's
Chucky
also
would
a
be
fun
awesome
one.
at that.
Yeah, Chucky might be awesome.
Chucky's ball obsessed.
Yeah,
Ball
that
obsessed.
Absolutely.
That one's a lot of fun. And I usually tell people if they're interested in agility to maybe try fly ball because it's not quite as daunting necessarily because it's just one course. They run there and they run back. But you still have all the running and jumping like people like with agility.
Right.
Yeah.
He also does nose work. And so they'll hide a scent somewhere on a course. It can be a car, a house, even an open field. And they have to go try and find it. And it's a non-food scent.
Is that the training they use for search and rescue and cadaver dogs and things? Is there some synergy there?
It's similar to that, but I mean, obviously that's more high end.
Sure, right.
Yeah. But it's the similar training to find a certain type of scent and use their nose. So I think that's a fun one.
Maslow's a busy guy.
He's got a lot going on, that's for sure.
He was making me feel lazy over here.
His one of my favorite ones, if you're just getting into dog sports, is barn hunt, which I'm not sure if you guys have heard of. It's
new to me.
Yeah.
It's such an easy going, laid back sport to get into. It's a course with just a bunch of different straw bales, and they hide rats in PVC tubes, and they have to go and try and find them in this course. And so there'll be an empty tube, there'll be a litter tube, and then there'll be a tube with a live rat, and they got to be able to find the live rat.
Digby would love that.
Yeah, Digby would absolutely
Digby would
love
be good at that. We need
Yeah.
to have Alyssa out when Corgi Town gets open and do some
training.
Yeah, do
absolutely.
some circuits.
I would love to.
What do they do with the live rat?
They just bark at it. They'll paw at it, and then you just call that they found the rat, and then someone comes and takes it away.
Okay.
So these are rats that have been trained for this. I find a lot of people get concerned in our comments. So they have been exposed to this since they were, babies. They're not concerned about it. They're in the tube and have interaction with the dogs for such a limited amount of time. It's really a non-stressor for them.
Okay.
I didn't even think about it. Leave that to Kat for the macabre questions.
Of course.
I was just going to ostrich that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We're not going to think about the rat.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want a bunch of comments from, people who don't know what is exactly
true.
happening.
For sure.
So now we know exactly what is happening
with the barn hunt.
Barn hunt.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's such a laid back sport. Everyone there is just really nice when you first get started. They're really supportive. And it's easy. Like agility, you have to run with the dog. And barn hunt, I just stand there and they do all the work. So
right.
I think that sounds great to me.
Me too.
We're not that corgi energy while I'm
I stand here. Yeah.
So
it's a win-win.
Yeah, right. Is Maslow your first corgi?
He was my first corgi. Very first dog that I had as an adult on my own.
That was my Lilo. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's turned out well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So what made you want a corgi?
Oh, such a long story with that one. So my primary career is as a zookeeper.
Oh, wow.
So you're good with animals inherently.
Yeah. So I work with animals all the time. And one of the things with being a zookeeper is you have to know how to train animals. The easiest way to get into training is dog training. So I was kind of sitting there and I was like, well, this is something that I want to do to help further my career, get this experience. But I had no idea where to start. I was like, I just need a dog. I don't know where to start. And I was like, well, I guess corgis were always kind of cute. So I'll do more research into them, right? And then I found out they're the 11th smartest breed, really intelligent. They're small enough. At the time I was in an apartment, so they're small enough for the weight limit, but I could still take them hiking or running or do a lot more heavy exercise like I wanted.
Yeah.
So I was like, check. Sign me up. Where do I get one?
Yeah. I love that you've done your research too. We get questions often. People ask me, I want a corgi, where should I look? And I always say, I don't want to be a naysayer. I definitely want you to have a corgi if you want one, but let's talk about, are you prepared?
Right.
Because
Yes.
they are sassy, they are bossy, they shed from January to December copious amounts. And
Yes.
I will hear people say, I've had a husky. I don't care. Corgis
Yeah.
shed more.
Yeah.
You're not going to
They
convince me. And
Yeah.
they bark. They're very loud. They say things all the time. They want to be heard. It's not for just the everyday dog owner that maybe have
Right.
had Goldens or Labradors. They're different breed.
I usually compare them to like mini border collies just to help get that picture into people's head. Like obviously the breed traits aren't exactly the same, but it's the best way to relate just how much of a working breed that they are and how much
Right,
work they
yes.
take.
But the border collies don't shed like corgis do.
I don't think they
have a
shed
different
nearly,
kind of coat.
but
Yeah, they have a different kind of coat. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, learn to love to vacuum, because
Yep.
that's what you will be doing in your spare time.
or
Yeah.
just learn to live with it.
Or learn to live with it. Yeah, I mean, just about every episode we'll be in the middle of an interview. Yeah, we have one in the eyeball,
Oh, yeah.
or in the hair, and in the nose, and
Mhm.
can't find it, or have it
The
in
masks have been the worst because I find them inside my mask all the time.
I know. Or your nose really itches and you're not supposed to touch your face right
Yeah,
now.
and you're like,
Right.
how do I?
There's fur in
There's fur.
there.
Yes, I find myself blowing my nose a lot, and every morning when I sweep the kitchen floor before I feed my two boys over here, I sweep up a whole corgi puppy.
Oh yeah.
I do. I sweep up a whole. Well, it's a corgi cattle dog puppy, because it's a combination, but mostly corgi. It's like 3/4 corgi.
Yeah. Mostly Digby.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there is so much fur. And we brush and we brush and we brush, and I get a whole corgi after brushing each of them. And it's really cute when people have not had a corgi before and they get a puppy and they say, oh, she doesn't really shed. I'm like, they're not
Just
6
wait.
months old yet, are they?
Yes.
Yeah. That undercoat grows in, and here you go.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
the mushroom cloud begins. of
Yes.
fur. So, as I've gotten off track here talking about cleaning corgi fur, this is why I have footnotes when we do our episodes to keep me on task. But do you have other pets? And you said Maslow's your first dog. That's your dog. Do you have other pets in the home?
I do have 2 other corgis that will sometimes be featured on our Instagram and TikTok. But
She's
obviously
catching up
he's
to me.
central.
Yeah. She's almost,
I'm getting
she's
there.
almost candy.
Yeah. So I have Lexi, who is Maslow's mom. So she's 7 years old, and I actually adopted her a year after we had Maslow. And then I
Breeder
also have
retire.
Yeah, breeder retire. And then I also have Quill. He's technically a sable, but he looks more like a red and white. And he's my blind boy, and he's only a
Aw.
year old.
Oh goodness. Was
Yeah.
he born blind?
His eyes were licked open prematurely by mom, so they didn't really get a
Oh.
chance to develop. So he's actually a foster fail.
Yeah.
He's a good combo because you have Maslow and Lexi, who are very high drive, have a lot of energy, very smart, and then Quill is just a squish who doesn't like to wake up before 10 and has to be in bed by 9. So
Will sounds like my spirit animal.
yeah, so it's a
Yes.
nice balance to have. So I don't have to worry about like 3 intelligent dogs just running my house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like with Digby, he's worth about 3 by himself
He is.
because he is high energy. He needs a job. You constantly have to entertain Digby. Like
Yes.
he's getting a little more mellow as he gets older, but he always needs a job. Chuckles is pretty high energy, but he's gotten to where I've trained him to where he will actually stay here for a while in my lap. But he likes to have a job and he likes to be active. And now I have Mortimer, and Mortimer is a mellow fellow. He is a mellow dude. I mean, just puppies you expect to be higher energy and be into things. And Chuckles was into everything all the time. You could not sit down. It was always play, 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 play. And what's this? What's this? What's this? Curiosity, curiosity, curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that one.
Goodness gracious. It was just like, man, and at the time I got Chuckles, I have Booger and Hammer that are my rescues. And I had a little girl that was a rescue named Zelda. Leela was my first baby that I raised from a puppy. And I decided to get Chuckles. He's my only by design corgi, where I looked up breeders. I wanted to do it the right way, find the one that did all the genetic testing. I ended up driving to California to get him. And my plan was that I had rescued, and I was going to continue to rescue, but I wanted to get a puppy and raise one so he could learn from Lilo, the most precious boy in the whole entire universe that has ever lived. And so I hadn't had a puppy in 14 years because Lilo was a senior at that point, and he had gone blind as well. His was age. Yeah. And so I had one that I had to gather around. And so, but I love that there was a little bit of an overlap. But by the time I got Chuck, I was like, man, I just must be getting old, because I remember having a puppy was work, but I don't remember it being this much work. Yeah. I was just like a new mom, sleep deprived, exhausted. Yes. And now that I have I almost called my dog Maslow. Now that I have Mortimer, he is so chill, so laid back, and he likes to play, and the two of them play really well, because Booger and Hammer, my rescues, are older. They're 10, 11, and they just want a quiet place to relax. But Chuckles likes to play, and he's been learning Maslow how to corg pretty well. And so they'll play, but Maslow. I've got your dog on my brain.
I know. Sorry. That's a cool name.
Mortimer. Mortimer is just Mr. Chill. He'll just come in and flop himself down, and he's very intelligent, so he's learning very quickly and learning very well. But he's just not nearly the work that Chuckles was.
Yeah, which is good. I think it's good at this point.
Yeah, I was a little worried.
So I have a question. There's the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. How true is that?
Oh, I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's true at all. I think if if you're committed to training your dog, you're committed to training your dog at whatever age. And I usually tell people training doesn't stop. It's not like you reach a certain point and then you just stop training them. There's always time. There's always an opportunity. I don't think age means a thing.
And I would think that that's probably good for the dog as well. You're kind of keeping them sharp, just like they say humans should still do puzzles and read challenging things to try to keep those mind muscles sharp.
Right.
But I know that too, with life, and especially this last year plus, has taught us that routines change, even as stable and consistent as we like to keep our lives, as we are control freaks like myself. You still get things that change in routine, and I feel like for the dogs, that's good for them to learn to change routines and know that change is coming and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, not every day is going to be exactly the same, and people who have gotten puppies during this pandemic, like I've told them to practice leaving the house and leaving your puppy there, even if you work from home. Just practice that, because it's hopefully not going to be that way forever.
Right. Yeah, and I worked from home before as well. So Chuckles has been pretty, but I've gotten him trained where he goes with me everywhere. And of course he's the spokescorg, right? So we're going to do all this PR work and you get to go, buddy. So it's an adventure for him, but
sure.
He's content. He travels well. He's pretty easygoing when it comes to, we're going to do this now and we're going to do that. But with the puppies, you're right to think about that. Like, people go back to work, coming back to the office, leaving their dogs, and their dogs understanding that they are going to come back and not get the separation anxiety. And so I've been trying to leave with Mortimer so that he learns to be a little bit latchkey, because he's not going to go everywhere like Chucky does. But his crate, he does not like his crate at all. Hear him the minute I leave out the garage. Yep. It sounds like he's being abused in there, but it's just because he's sitting in his crate. And so I've been trying to do the treats and then every time he comes out, he gets a treat. So he knows that a reward is cut. Yeah, he likes to do his own thing, and he doesn't come when called. He's like, yeah, whatever, lady. I know my name now, but I'll come when I'm ready.
I'll do it when I'm ready. Yep, that's a corgi.
Yeah.
That is a corgi.
Maslow.
Mortimer. Morty B.
Okay. Well, we've learned how you have helped Maslow do all these wonderful things and all these interesting different tricks in the dog sports. And I've found that having pets, and especially corgis, have been just paramount to my well-being. Really, let's be honest. I'm going to say helpful, but it's paramount. Like, I have to have my corgis. Would you say that Maslow has helped you in ways with your well-being?
Oh, definitely. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I just posted a TikTok video with that audio that's like, do you want to form an alliance with me? You know? And for me, it was human desperately wanting to learn how to train dogs, and then him, a dog desperately needing to be trained to be happy. Yeah. So I think we're definitely two pieces of a puzzle. I wanted a dog I could train. He's a dog that needed training. You know, in general, with this pandemic, it's been a good distraction as well. You know, something to focus my energy on.
Right.
And just a good learning opportunity. There's so many dog sports before I had him that I never knew about. There's so many other just trick dog organizations that I never knew about. So I think we're learning and growing together, which is what I try to portray on our TikTok, you know, it's just us learning things together and figuring it out together.
Well, and it's entertaining too. So you're offering education and fun.
Yeah.
So plus Maslow's so cute. Like,
I know, he's lucky he's cute because he's very naughty.
I can relate. I've had a couple like that.
Yeah, I may have one like that.
Digby may have been on that list.
Yes.
So other than naughty, can you tell us about Maslow's personality? What are his favorite things? Obviously, other than having a job and learning to do fun tricks.
Oh man, he is actually the biggest derp. A lot of people see him and he's like, oh, he's such this smart dog. Like, yeah, but he's just a derpy, goofy guy. If you're trying to water the lawn, like, he desperately wants to be there and try to bite at the water and all of that stuff.
That's so funny.
He does the same thing.
Yeah.
And then when I show him the towel, he comes up and he starts rubbing himself on the towel. I barely have to do anything. I just lay the towel down and he just starts rolling over and drying himself off. He's a derpy dude. He loves swimming though. So if we take him somewhere, he likes to wade in and swim, and he'll just do his own thing, just a couple little laps here and there. He's picky with food. He was my first corgi I got. I had the plan. I'm like, hey, I got to limit people food, lots of activity. I got to watch how much he eats because he's a corgi. He's going to want to eat everything. No. He can eat whatever he wants and he maintains that weight. I'm jealous actually, but.
Well, how old, right? How old is he now?
He's 3 years old.
3. Okay. Yeah. So he may, of course you keep him pretty busy.
Yeah. We do a lot of stuff.
What I've noticed about mine is when they're young, and it's about 2 years typically. Up until they're 2 years old, I've had a hard time keeping weight on them, even if they are little piggies. And you talk about Maslow being picky. Lilo was picky like that. Right. Lilo was a very picky eater, and I could all day feed him, and he would graze his food until I got other corgis that would eat it. So then we had to go on a schedule, but he was picky like that. But I've noticed that when they're puppies, I mean, it doesn't matter how much I feed them. I have a hard time keeping weight on them. And then like after you get them fixed and the hormones change and then they start to become adults, I can't keep weight off of them. And then we have the opposite problem.
Yes.
And Chuckles is like that, and we just joke. I'm like, you move into this house, you're going to have a big backside. That's how it grows when you.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. Well, so I don't want to take up your whole day because we could sit here and talk about training.
Oh, I could talk forever.
Yes. So please come back on soon. But I do have a request because you talk about how derpy he is. I would love for you to do a blooper reel on your TikTok of him just being a derp.
Yes, I have to do that because I'm sure I have a lot of footage of it.
Probably.
Honestly. Yeah.
Use your first 3-minute slot for.
I know, just for all the bloopers that he's done.
So what would you, I'll leave you with one last question so that we don't keep you here all day, but what are the biggest tips you would give for anyone training their corgi? And I ask it for this because we like being a place for people to go to for all things corgi.
Absolutely.
And we get various questions. And for the most part, I'm good with them because I've had so many and I've done basic training. But yours is very advanced and you do very good work. And so, again, we talked about you want a corgi. Keep in mind they're sassy, they're high intelligent, they're high energy. These are things you have to pay attention to. And those are normally what I tell people. What would you tell someone who says, I want to get a corgi? What basic tips would you give for training your corgi?
Usually I tell people for training them, you have to be more stubborn than them.
Yes.
So you got to wait them out. You know, you tell them to sit, they got to stay in a sit. You got to be more stubborn than they are. Because like we talked earlier, give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Right.
You know,
do not negotiate with the stumpy terrorists.
Yeah, we don't negotiate with corgis.
Yeah.
The tip I give for all people who own working breeds is nothing in life is free. I still have to pay rent. I still have to pay, you know, for my car loans and everything. I have to pay for food. Why do they get to live for free? So anytime they get food, you have to do a sit, you have to do a down. Every time you want to go outside, you know, you got to do a rollover or a spin. Even when you're playing with a toy, like I like to practice putting him in a stay and throwing the toy, and he has to wait to be released in order to get it.
Wow.
So they're a working breed. Make them work. You know, that's when they're going to be happiest, is if you make them work. Nothing in life is free.
I love that. There you go, folks. Make them work.
Make
you want
them
a corgi,
work.
make them work. I mean, I make Chuckles work because he's the spokescorg.
He's the spokescorg.
Yeah,
and
so he gets to earn his keep.
And I've got to make Wiggin work. Wiggin used to be an agility dog, but now he doesn't.
He's in his golden years, though.
He's in his golden years, but still, boy's got to work. This way, he doesn't chase after my cat and want to eat it.
Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Well, Alyssa, thank you so much. Any final thoughts?
I mean, follow us, and I hope to be back because there's so much more I could go into with corgis.
Yeah, we'll have you back for sure.
Absolutely.
We'll do a series of trainings, and maybe we will make them more succinct if we want to focus on a certain, you know, if it's the barn hunting or if it's fastball or just the stay command and playing with toys. So we'll definitely do something. So stay tuned, listener, viewer. And on the banner here, if you're watching, it's you can go to Instagram or TikTok, and it's a Maslow The Trick Corgi for those listening. MASLOW The Trick Corgi, all one word.
Yep.
So Alyssa, have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to having you on again.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
Maslow.
Bye,
Be a good
Maslow.
boy. Don't be naughty.
He says maybe.
Maybe.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
How fun was that?
That was a lot of fun.
I want to hang out with Maslow. Apparently, I want to steal her dog since I keep calling him mine. I'm like, my Maslow.
I want Alyssa here so that she can. I mean, she trains corgis, but I'm sure she could do something with the Australian cattle and make it so that he doesn't want to eat my cat.
Maybe
We'll figure that out. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he needs a job.
Maybe he needs it. See, that's what I said. He needs a job. So I have 2 working dogs. Feel bad for me.
Well,
2 different breeds.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes. Well, listener, viewer, thank you so much for joining us. We're here for you every Thursday for all things corgi. Please go follow Maslow The Trick Corgi on Instagram and TikTok. You won't regret it. For one, Maslow is adorable. Alyssa's wonderful with him and their training, and you will definitely learn so much. Even with my 17 years now and having corgis, I learned something when I watched. So I've really enjoyed it.
I look forward.
And please follow us. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. We are changing it up all the time. We have rescue stories, we have training tips, we have grooming tips, we have traveling with your corgi, all these different things about life with corgis and your dogs in general, not just all corgis.
Yes.
And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now if you want to see little Mortimer and his puppy antics. It's Corgi Town USA. Instagram's Corgi_Town_USA and Corgi Town USA on Facebook and TikTok. Kat, any final thoughts?
I think that training any dog, training a cat, which is physically impossible.
You can train cats?
Yeah, you actually can train cats. It takes a long time, but you can train cats. Yeah. and apparently chickens too, because I have chickens. I own a menagerie, cats, dogs, chickens. We got it all
You have
here.
your own zoo.
I have my own zoo. It is good for the dog. It's good for you mentally. It takes away, I think, that that frustration that you can get with them, because they're always little children. Really, they're always little children, and it takes away your frustration, takes away the dog's frustration, and it just makes for a better relationship. So I look forward to watching those TikTok videos and doing more training with Digby, and it brings us closer as well.
For sure. Yeah, that's part of the bonding process.
Yeah.
So follow Alyssa's advice. Nothing in life is for free. Make them
Right.
work.
Yeah, and I will.
Okay, working corgis. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next week. Cat, Candy, Digby, Wiggin, Chuckles.
I think we got them all.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.